following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Moore. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is a Tuesday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Tostitos, helping fans get in on the game and our favorite chip and our favorite dip of Talkin Cowboys. Welcome into the SWBC studios at the Star in Frisco. Heckma Harrison, Isaiah Stanback, Rob Phillips, Chris Beam. I'm Kyle Yeomans in the final regular season episode of 2021.
Did you finish off the Golden Grounds?
Yeah, we did upstairs. Yeah,
Nice.
the Lay's Golden Grounds.
Golden Grounds, man.
Go and win you a bag because there's only like 5 that they're giving away.
Wow.
5 by whom?
By Lay's,
Oh,
I believe.
So
I thought it was like 200.
They made 200, but they're giving away 5. Or maybe the Cowboys are giving away
I don't think I
5.
won. I tweeted them. I didn't get anything back.
You didn't win?
I don't think so.
Goodness.
I put my
gracious.
name in the hat, though. That's all
Probably
that's all
because
you
you've
can hope
already
for.
tasted the Golden Grounds.
I did taste the Golden Grounds.
Yeah, we had the nice crunch last week. And,
They were delish.
yeah. But how's everybody doing? Is the recovery set in yet?
Oh, yeah. It's sunk in already. It is sunken like quicksand.
I don't know.
It feels very like a freaking funeral around this part, man.
It does.
It does.
It's a disappointment. I get it. I get it, man. It sucks.
It's always like this on a Monday after a loss, but I think you got to multiply it by 10 this week. And, yeah, missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, as good as they've had in years.
You don't get them back.
No, and you only get so many tries at a Super Bowl, and you only get so many tries in the playoffs to even get that direction, and the fact that you're not there. It's disappointing. Heck, but if you had one word to describe the way that Cowboys feel, it has to be a clean word. It has to be radio friendly.
No commas.
Yeah, he tried to get me up out of here right now, ain't he?
Radio friendly. One word to
lying.
describe how Cowboys Nation is feeling right now.
Down. It just sucks. Hey, this is pretty bad. On the level, I mean, you thought you had everything going this season. You thought you had all the pieces, and it didn't come together. And after going back and watching the game again, we were never even close in that game, man.
You know what? Jerry said it after the game in the tunnel that the score was not indicative of
The beatdown.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
so
it
many
wasn't close.
words.
No, it wasn't close.
Kind of like Arizona. Arizona, that game came down to the very end, but the better team that day clearly was the road team.
I mean, but even when I look at the Arizona team, the game last night, I was saying to myself, how much different would it have been if they had Hopkins? You know, how much more of their offense was just cut off because now the Rams just had to concentrate on the guys that they had. And just coming down the stretch, if you don't have all of your guys, it affects the way that you play. And that's just it.
And that's the killer about this team right here is that we heard for weeks, and it was a fact, like while a lot of teams were getting depleted and decimated by injuries, yes, it was the Cowboys were getting healthier, as healthy as you could possibly ask for. Keanu Neal was inactive for that game. Beyond that, Michael Gallup's on IR. A couple other guys. Beyond that, that was a healthy football team.
Yeah, and you're expected to have some sort of injuries, but if you're telling me that Keanu Neal and Michael Gallup were the absolute difference in the way that offense looked and the way that they were unable to stop the run, I would disagree with you. I don't think they would have made that big of a difference because, like Heckma just said, you were dominated through the first 3.5 quarters. It took you 59 minutes, or maybe a little less than that, maybe 50 minutes of that football game to finally wake up and realize what the stakes were. That it was win or go home, and it took too long for them to realize, and ultimately that was the difference between being a playoff winner and a playoff loser.
Well, I just want to find out what are we going to do with Amari Cooper. I think it's going to be very important. How are we going to go forward with the weapons that we have? Because he is legit a weapon. I think we would all agree.
Yep.
But if we're not going to use him, If the $20 million that's being paid to him, I think that's the one thing that they've got to figure out how to go about that. Linebacker wise, I mean, just pieces. Just looking at where we're going with all the names that we had on free that you read off yesterday from free agency. Like, how many of those guys are going to be back? How many can you actually return? But even after going through all of that, I guess the silver lining is, man, you got to still have a good young squad. Will McClay, Stephen Jones have put together a damn good squad. I think if you trust your draft picks, if you trust Boss Man Fat to be the future at cornerback, obviously it's maturity issues, things that he's going to have to clean up. But guys like Nashawn Wright, what role do they play into next season? So, I mean, there's a promising, you have a foundation, you have a base. And obviously with the bazooka, you got to just build around that.
I feel as if Cowboys Nation is feeling so somber for a number of reasons. Obviously, not showing up to putting out the performance that they displayed the other night. That obviously doesn't help. Then you compound that problem by watching the LA Rams last night do what they did with their commitment to their roster, just like Dallas committed to their roster this year and their coaching staff. But they had a totally flip side showing, right? They showed up the way in which you would have hoped Dallas would have showed up. So I think that was like a double stab right there. You had a bad showing, and then you watch a team that pretty much made the commitment like you made this year to go all in with a stacked roster, and they showed up and balled out. So you looked at that and said that should have been the way that we played. So I think that's a double jab. And now the triple jab, okay, the bow, right? The doggone Muhammad Ali, okay, tap on that forehead, comes in the form of, even though what you just mentioned, Heckma, you have young talent coming back, even though you know that you're going to have a good roster, maybe not as good as this year, but you're going to have a solid roster going into next year. Will McClay and his staff are going to do a heck of a job like they always do. You're still left with that feeling of, then what? Mm-hmm. Because this year your roster was stacked. This year your coaching staff was stacked. And it still left you empty-handed. So it doesn't matter. Just like you came in hyped last week, because of how they ended the season at 12-5, it doesn't matter with the regular season. The missing piece with this organization is what happens when the playoffs approach. Getting to the playoffs is stage one, but then after that, there's that empty, that bubble guts, right? We talk about the bubble guts. You have the bubble guts when the Cowboys get to the playoffs, and that's what nobody can put their finger on right now, and that's what I think is really leaving all Cowboys fans feeling uneasy.
Why is that the case, though? Why is it that much of a disparity? Because, I mean, you should have been excited about 12-5. You should have been excited about the way this roster was and the way that everything was. That's why Cowboys Nation was ready, and then you come out so flat in the fact that you're down 13-0 before you can really even find your footing on either side of the football. Why is it so much of a disparity between the regular season and then, of course, the playoffs, or is it just the factor that you can't beat a good team?
I don't think it was a disparity, actually, my opinion. I think the way they played in this game, unfortunately, is what we saw a lot of the time against better teams in the league. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying this was a bad football team. This is a good team. They won 12 games, give them all the credit. But the stat about NFC East 6-0, 6-6 against the rest of the NFL.
Skewed.
I mean, I think that does carry some weight. Again, it's not a bad team, but they had some problems that cropped up in the last half of the season, particularly offensively, that they never solved. And it showed up in this game, and I think that's why we talked about yesterday why this game was considered a toss-up, because you were playing one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Down the stretch, went 7-2, has been to a Super Bowl, so this was always going to be a tough game. But to your point, it's still the playoffs. It's still a home game that you earned that opportunity, and it is very deflating and disappointing to start the game the way they did and finish the game.
No, it's really kind of hard to argue that point, P, because you look at the teams that they played with that went to the playoffs, teams with a winning record, teams with a quote-unquote top-tier quarterback, how they fared. Going into next year, what I'm going to do is when we get the season schedule out, I'm going to say which one is a real team and which one's a fake team. Okay? So that way when we win, we can celebrate those, and when we win versus bums, we'll say, oh, that was a bum. Right? We bum checked them, so let's not over-celebrate on those, right?
So when we win, Chris can play the Mario ding.
Ding.
Yeah. I mean,
when it's a quality win.
When it's
kind
a
of
quality,
like in March Madness,
right.
It's a quality resume win.
Because I thought that Chargers, obviously, I thought that was a quality win.
Yeah.
Everyone said that Philly would win the division. I thought that was a quality win. And so, like, the goalpost moves so much with Dallas Cowboy fans and this organization, period. 12-5, yes. Isaiah, I was happy as hell.
You should be.
As you should be.
You should be.
No, I was happy to see this team battle back from the disappointment that they had from last season. The culture was the going theme of going into this season. You made a lot about these guys not being able to bond, be together. You saw the difference that actually made this season, the brotherhood that they had. I love seeing that camaraderie all throughout the season. But that does not negate the performance in the playoffs. Because if you're going to do all of that and then get to the playoffs and lay an egg, and then you look back over the NFL and see how many home teams won their games, and you were not even close physically in the game that you just played, that's the disappointment.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to be, and we can go back, for fact check, but that's why I didn't want to be Debbie Downer when these victories came along. But like y'all know, I wasn't hyped about a lot of these victories because they were against opponents that you're supposed to beat. And everybody says, oh, it's still the NFL. Yeah, that's cool. However, there's levels. There's levels of this. I don't care what your record says. There's levels. So the 12-5, yeah, that sounds good. Awesome. But when you look back at the record of the teams that you face, you lost against the teams that really mattered. And that's what this record showed. You lost against the teams that actually matter, that can actually compete at the next level of competition, which is the playoffs. And that's why I kept going back to saying, whoa. Simmer down, because those games, they're cool, but they really don't matter because you're showing exactly who you are and how you're going to approach that level of competition when you face those opponents. And the record showed that you back down or that you don't show up against that type of opponent, and it showed up again the other day.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take away what they accomplished, and some of the games that the first game of the season, looking back, might have been their best performance. They took Tom Brady and the Bucs to the wire. They went on the road against New England, and I know they got blown out in the playoffs, but won that game. And honestly, when they went to Minnesota, and I know Minnesota wound up having a disappointing season, but in that environment, they won without Dak. For me personally, I thought, oh, this is a special team. This is a team that's got a chance because they are a complete team, and they can win it without Dak, win a big game on the road without Dak Prescott. So everything flipped after Denver.
Yep.
I know when they came the next week and blew out Atlanta, I know I said it. I felt like, well, okay, that was an aberration. But it turned out that it wasn't for the offense. There was some kind of blueprint, whatever you want to call it. I didn't want to say. I was trying to my internal thesaurus.
Everybody laughed at me whenever I asked that question too.
Well, I think you're right, and I think a lot of people
Which
did
is fair because it was 43-3 the next week, and you thought the Denver game was the exception, not the rule.
Well, they were so machine-like through the first 6-7 games of the season.
You're exactly right.
That based on the full resume, you're like, well, they just didn't bring it today. And I think we talked about it. Everybody, even the best teams in playoff teams,
games.
Have one of those hiccup games. It turned out not to be a hiccup game.
Yeah,
and I can appreciate your perspective on that because I think after the Denver game, you were one of the ones that was like, they see it. It's out there now. And everybody kind of followed that blueprint and said, look, this is who these guys are. And if we can show them this, we can actually slow this offense down. The numbers indicate that obviously after the Denver game that the production just went completely through the floor. But when it comes down, I use a team like Cincinnati for an example. They're a team that was trajectory-wise was going down. Obviously, Burrow's hurt, but then they bring in a wide receiver that is just game-changing, transformative. And if you had played them, say, second week of the season, that wouldn't have been a team that you would have thought in your head, okay, this is a team that's on the way up. No, you beat a young team, young quarterback, young receiver. Our whole thing is whether we have to rebuild this roster, you got to get game-changing guys. We didn't have a whole lot of game changers.
You don't think this roster has game-changing guys?
I think Parsons was a game changer this year. Diggs was a game changer this year.
You never had Jerron Kearse as a game changer at the beginning. Nobody did. You couldn't have guessed the way that Dan Quinn used him that he would have been the kind of player that we needed this season.
How many game changers do you think are on each side of the ball on most teams?
Like true
game changers.
I would like to think offensively you'd have to have 2 or 3.
This team has more than that.
No, of course.
Well, a lot of it has to be in the right spots too.
Well,
it has to be in the offensive line,
utilized
have to
properly.
be in the defensive line.
That's why I bring up.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think this roster is short of that. So just to address your point, this roster is not short of game changers. Mm-hmm. The utilization of those game changers was not used. It was not proper. This offense is one of the most explosive offenses personnel-wise in the league. You saw last night what an explosive offense is supposed to look like. You saw the other night, Kansas City, what an explosive offense with personnel like we have is supposed to look like. The utilization was lacking. That's what's lacking. Dak is elite. Zeke is elite, regardless if he was hurt or not. Coop is elite. CD's elite. Those are 4 game changers right there. Right there on offense. Defensively, we had 2 young guys go all-pro. 2 young guys go all pro. And then you got D-Law, you got Greg. I would label these guys as game changers. Now, whether or not they cut that switch on or not, or whether or not they put in positions to be game changers is something different. And I think that's where there's a separation
by title or by production. You got to separate the two.
Absolutely.
And that's why I said Jamar Chase. When you think about him as a number 1 wide receiver, it's unquestionable his production and what he does. I mean, he separates himself. I don't know if we had that. I mean, if I'm just looking, and this is the thing about what we do, and you make the evaluation. When we evaluate teams, we get to see them play against other teams, and you're like, oh, damn, we don't have one of those.
And the crazy thing is, and I agree with you in that regard, a little bit in that regard, but I think if you look at this, and we're just talking about offense, let's just look at the offense. Was Zeke used the way he needed to be used this year?
I don't think you could, though.
Okay, injury-wise. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Would you guys, Zeke, yes, no?
No.
Okay. Let's go to.
I might say more Pollard than Zeke.
Yep.
Because Zeke spent almost the
absolutely
whole season hurt.
Yeah, Zeke was hurt. Zeke was hurt, but Pollard could have been utilized more, correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For his game-changing abilities.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. What about Coop? Was he utilized properly?
No. Hell no.
Wasn't utilized properly. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and go to CD. CD had a good year.
It could have been better.
Could have been better.
Inconsistent is.
Yeah, he dropped a lot of balls.
Yeah.
Right? That was him and Dak.
He only had the 6 touchdowns, which I know that's kind of getting nitpicky, but you look at the guys ahead of him that are in the similar situation. Stephon Diggs had 10, Jamar Chase had 13, Adams, Jefferson. I mean, if you want him to be that upper echelon, he's in year 2. That's fine.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase is a rookie, special, best rookie receiver maybe of all time. Justin Jefferson did the same thing last year.
Yeah.
He's still young, but you still want him to be that upper echelon.
Yeah,
at some
you want
point.
him to be that upper echelon, but again, he wasn't used like he could have been used.
Exactly.
Right? Debo Samuel had 8 touchdowns from the backfield.
Yep. And 6 receiving.
From the backfield. and still match CD in terms of receiving.
Difference maker.
Absolutely. But also they're being put in positions to be successful. And that's the job of, on offensive side of the ball, of your offensive coordinator. The reason why Micah Parsons had the year he had, not only because he's a special talent, he's an absolute goon, but also he was put in the right position. Guess what? By midseason, Dan Quinn figured out, if I put him over the guard, they don't stand a freaking chance. Right? If I put these guys wide nine techniques, if I put D-Law on the inside and I put Micah Parsons on the inside, we can kill these guys. They were put in amazing positions. Great players, put in position to be successful. This organization has to figure out how to do that on both sides of the ball. They took turns. Offense stepped up, defense flipped it. And the offense said, "Oh, y'all got it. We'll just ride. We'll hop in the back. They didn't both say we're both driving this bus.
So I know we got to go to break.
No, keep going.
Is that the number one thing they got to fix this offseason? Schematically, offensively, figure out how to fix what went wrong the last 10 games, whatever.
I think Keller Moore has a lot of homework to do on himself. First half, Keller Moore. First half of the season. Second half, Keller Moore is something that I don't really understand what was going on. And I think, and I mentioned this earlier, I said he went in his bag. I don't know how much is left in that bag. Remember I said he needs to go find another bag? I said, I don't know how much is left in that bag. You could tell in this offseason he put a lot of work in. He watched a lot of film. He analyzed himself, and he came out there, boom, 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 shooting his gun. Then he was out of ammo.
Yeah.
He was out of ammo. You go back to he tried to get a little bit creative this past game, going back to the little reverse wishbone thing. Yeah. But guess what? I think we ran that 3 times, came out in that formation, all 3 of them passes. All 3 of them passes. None of them were out of run. You got 2 linemen in the backfield. You're not going to come downhill?
Yeah, the balance dissipated early in that game when we talked about it going in. Like, you have to stay balanced. But, I just feel like you can have all the great intention in the world and your scheme can be absolutely great. But if your offense goes out and poo-poo like that, I don't care what you call. It's like me and my wife at the car dealership. I know what we can afford, but she doesn't seem to know. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like Keller Moore, he has plays that he wants to call, but the timing isn't going to be there for that play to be called because your offensive line isn't giving you the time you need.
But that's the aspect of his game that he has to work on. He has to work on his patience. Keller Moore has zero patience. Zero patience. And I think he's a great creative mind. But I think his specialty, obviously his comfort zone, and we've talked about this, is down the field. He likes the big play, the big chunk plays. He does a great job when there's a running game and he can run play action. They'll pick you apart all day long. But when a running game is not present and it's no longer an option because you're behind, is he willing to work his way downfield? And in the stats and the film shows he's unwilling to do that. He doesn't like that. That's out of his comfort zone. He doesn't want to be patient and run a 12 to 14 play drive. He wants it to be a 6-play drive. Yeah. He might have a couple plays in there. He's taking a shot. But when the defense is playing bend but don't break, Bill Belichick type defense, that's what we just faced. A Bill Belichick type, we will let you work your way down the field and then we're going to try to tighten it up in the red zone. That's what San Fran presented. And he said, nah, we're still going to take our shots. Nah, we're good. Schultzenegger, you're wide open, but nah. We're running double under concepts on the outside, but nah. Dak, take the shot down the field.
Well, Dak admittedly will say he's greedy too in some of the regard that he wants to. And I think Hellman has alluded to like Kellen's style as like when you play Madden and you're frustrated and you just want to run go routes and try to make it all back up. So, but I never felt like they were too behind when they couldn't have stuck to the running game. And I watched it again, and I know they have struggled. I've talked about the O-line winning up front, but like. The puzzling thing and the frustrating thing watching it again was the one drive they had, touchdown drive, that was not benefited by a takeaway.
TP.
Yeah, they ran it 6 times out of 9, Zeke and Pollard. and Zeke and Pollard wound up with 12 carries in the entire game. And that one drive, there was the balance. And, oh, man, that was also the most comfortable Dak Prescott looked in that game.
Well, there was a severe lack of up-tempo. There was a severe lack of creativity. It really did feel vanilla. It was a vanilla attack, and you had been waiting. One of the big questions when there was so much struggle at the end of the year was, I wonder if they're waiting. I wonder if they're going to wait and they're going to bring it whenever the playoffs come around. If they're going to bring that bag. Keller Moore has a bag. It's just stashed away for a little bit. That wasn't the case.
Vanilla's okay, though, Kyle. Like, vanilla is okay, and that's what I think he has to go back and address. Vanilla's cool, right? I don't need the sprinkles. I don't need the sprinkles. Let me be vanilla. Let me just work my way down. Let me just work my way down. It's boring. It's freaking boring. It's freaking boring. But guess what? When you have that many weapons, that's what teams are going to do. Yeah. Teams are going to chill out. Hey, we going to keep everything in front of us. Screw that. We ain't letting you beat us over the top. They have whatever they want in front of us. He has to work on that patience. That's what I'm talking about, patience. He has to work on that aspect of his game. It's okay to be boring. And guess what? If you're boring long enough, guess what? You're going to be able to put some spice in your life whenever you have an opportunity to take advantage of it.
When we come back here on Talkin Cowboys, we've talked a lot about Keller Moore. We'll keep that conversation going. But is Dak Prescott still good enough to get this team to a conference championship and or Super Bowl in future years? We'll talk about that and more when we come back on Talkin Cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. for teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
It is a Great People, Great Pay replay here on Talkin' Cowboys. Jason Witten has joined the Caliber Collision team. You can join him to do great work with great people for great pay and apply right now at jobsatcaliber.com. That's jobsatcaliber.com.
Boy,
just very
just
light.
lay that thing down.
Instead of the big slam every
How does that
single
feel
time.
when you're sitting? Do you feel like your hips are, like your pelvis is shifted?
Wonderful. Yeah. I feel like I'm 21 again.
Oh, nice.
Geez.
That means we can go out and ball.
Maybe not.
All right. Let's go. Let's
That's
get
why
on,
he came in sleeping
on the
today.
hardwood.
That's why he came in sleeping today.
Hey.
Let's go.
That escalated quickly.
Second segment here of Talking Cowboys presented by Tostitos.
I was waiting on the Mario to come in.
There it is.
Let's wake up with that.
Oh, it's good to have a smile on your face, even after such a disappointing.
I needed that.
And yeah, we all need it a little bit. We're with you, Cowboys Nation. We feel you because it does. It feels like Groundhog Day every once in a while, and it's not fun. So we're going to continue breaking it down for you, and we will be with you throughout the offseason, by the way. I'll go ahead and plug this, but we are at 11 a.m. Central Time every Tuesday from here on out. It'll be Talking Cowboys, 11 a.m. Central.
This is like, I think I should have asked you how it feels when the season ends. It literally is like being on a roller coaster for 6 months and then somebody just saying, get off.
Get out of here.
Yep. It's so funny you said that because somebody asked me that yesterday, and very similar analogy. I said it was like being on a lightning rod or something, like a lightning bolt, and riding that from July on, and then it stops.
It's because Rob doesn't know what a roller coaster feels like.
Oh, that's right.
Twice. Twice in my life.
My bad.
And never again.
Bad analogy. I forgot who I was talking to.
No, that's
for
dead
me.
on.
For me, it's like being chased by a bear for 6 months and then turning around and the bear isn't there anymore. So yeah.
That's dead on.
Imagine taking a garbage bag and going to clean out your locker.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a quick, sudden end.
Yeah,
right?
give you a big black garbage bag and say, "Get your stuff out your locker."
Why's it gotta be black?
I don't know. What's up with that?
My bad. It's mouth brain. Stop. Sometimes.
It's true though, and it's a sudden ending, and immediately you get back to the facility yesterday, and it's a pause. You don't hear anything going on.
You hear tumbleweeds going down the hallway.
Yeah, you don't. Honestly, and it was there was nobody out at the Tostitos Plaza out front. Gorgeous facility. Monday Night Football game playing on the big screen.
But guess what?
Nobody there.
OTA is going to strike back up, and we'll do it all over again.
It's true. No doubt about it.
Somebody's you threw your Cowboy jersey across the room. It'll be there waiting on you when you're ready to pick it up.
It'll be back on the hanger before you
Come on back.
All right, let's talk about Dak Prescott here. Let's talk about Dak. And Isaiah wants me to start with Heckma.
You really do.
Isaiah wants me to start with Heckma, so I'm going to start with Heckma. I agree with what you're about to say because I know what you're about to say. But is Dak Prescott still a quarterback? Is he still a quarterback that could get the job done?
Yes! Yes, he is.
Why is that?
Yeah, look, that's obviously with the head coach and the quarterbacks. They keep all the winning records.
Yeah.
Right now, that 1-3 playoff record, that ain't looking good. And you have got to improve on that. Going into this offseason, it's got to be the emphasis on the running game has to be there. And that's for any quarterback. You look at Keller Moore yesterday. You look at any quarterback. That balance, your running game has to be there. Zeke coming out saying that he had a PCL injury this all year. That is what gave me the mystery meat bubble guts.
Yeah.
Because to me, he was a decoy all year long. He was a decoy. He was an extra blocker. That's just indicative of how bad your offensive line is. And anytime we saw TP, that was actually the offense running. So those things have got to be corrected. But I think, Dak's numbers, obviously the NFL it's a passing league, so everyone's numbers is escalated. Me and P have talked about how the numbers, rushing numbers, have completely gone into the tank. There's got to be an identity with this team that has to be addressed right away offensively. If Keller Moore leaves, if he stays, whatever it is, we've got to figure this part of it out. Is it the running gun, or are we completely just ground and pound? Which one is it going to be? Because we've got to figure this. We got to figure this thing out, because we're leaving this guy out to dry, especially on those games where we don't have any balance. I've never gotten Dak confused with Aaron Rodgers. I've never gotten Dak confused with Tom Brady. I know where his strong suits are. He's a freaking leader, right? That's what he is. He is a blue-collar quarterback in a white-collar town. And you just better keep it real with yourself on that. And if you can build around him, he can get you there. But if you're just saying, hey, Dak, and I know, I hear what you're saying, cha-ching, if you're going to pay him like that, then he's got to lead like that.
Yeah.
Whatever the outlay for everybody, the way that they're getting paid, I just feel as though Dak is a quality quarterback. You cannot give up on him. And if you did, you would be stupid, because you go back to Sunday, if Dak played for the 49ers, you probably lose by 40 points. If Jimmy Garoppolo plays for the Dallas Cowboys, he throws 4 interceptions. Period. So the answer is hell yeah.
I like the way you brought up the run game, and I've been looking at this. These are some of the totals running the football in Wild Card Weekend. Look at the teams that moved on and won football games. Elijah Mitchell, of course, for San Francisco had 96 yards. Devin Singletary had 81 yards. Deebo Samuel added 72 to Elijah Mitchell's 96. Both Sony Michel and Cam Akers were over 50 yards apiece. Joe Mixon had a fantastic season and ran the ball for 46 yards in that ball game. They all have running attacks. And the Cowboys' running attack had 60 yards prior to the final play. So it does. It plays a massive role in how Dak Prescott's able to run this offense, how the play action is then working, and it does. It makes an impact. And if a quarterback has that eliminated, that rug taken out from underneath them, it makes your offense one-dimensional, and you have to find another way to get it done. And really, I didn't think there was another outlet for Dak Prescott to have. He wasn't good. I will say that. He didn't play well, but he didn't necessarily have a whole lot of help either.
Proud of you, Heck.
Standing strong.
I'm proud of you, man. I know you love your Dak. I know you love your Dak, man. And, I think you kept it 100 right there. I think that was well said. We should clip that.
Lord Jesus, help me.
I agree with everything that you said. I think that Dak is a very capable quarterback. I believe that Dak is and should remain the leader of this team. Yeah. I do believe that Dak has to elevate his leadership in the form of the expectations for this entire organization. And when I say that, I mean that there should be 17 check boxes. There should be 17 boxes that he has to check. Boom, 17 games, boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's cool. We're going to take care of these. These ones are the ones that are necessary to propel us to the ones that really matter. And I feel as if that comes from your leader on the field, your quarterback, then the expectation of the entire offense and team will elevate. It's one thing to hear from the coach. It's another thing to hear from the player. When you think about the NFL, you think about the head coach, and then you think about who? Your quarterback,
yeah.
Right? So those two guys have to be speaking the same language. When I was in New England, I was wondering, because when I was in here in Dallas, we won ball games. We was kicking it. We was turning up. You know what I'm saying? Locker room, live, all that kind of stuff. And it carried over through the weekend. We was out clubbing. And when I got to New England, it was like, all right, guys, good game. Come back in on Monday, and we got film to study. Get ready for the next team. It's like, what the heck, man? Like, we just won a ball game. But it didn't feel like you just won a ball game. It just felt like you checked that box. You're supposed to do that. That's your job. Your job is to show up and take care of these regular season games. We're preparing our minds for the next level. And I don't think that step has been taken here. Obviously, it's been, how many years? 25 years?
More than that now.
26 years. So the psychology and the communication between the head coach and that quarterback has to be on the same wavelength. And I'm not sure if it's there yet. I can't think about an instance this year where we heard any dialogue between the head coach nor Dak in reference to postseason. And I'm not saying that that's something they should be verbally just talking about all the time, but I didn't even get an inkling that their mindset was higher goals than just the regular season. Like, this was the expectation. I felt as if it was like, hey, we did a great job today. And I'm like, hey, I never got the sense that it was like, yep, no, good, we're preparing for the next week. I never got that vibe, and I may be wrong. I'm just telling you what I feel, right? But I don't believe that there's an instance where you got the feeling that these guys are their mind is set on we're supposed to be doing this to these teams, and we need to be having our mind set on what are we going to face when we get to the playoffs.
Well, and even if there was a little bit of that from Dak and from McCarthy and the leaders of this team, even if there was a sliver of that as the mindset with the postseason in mind, that's still not enough, because not only do you have to have that mindset yourself, you have to have a more locked-in mindset than all 31 other teams in the NFL if you really want to achieve the goal and really get to the expectation in which this organization requires of you.
Absolutely, but I think that it has to start somewhere, whether it starts there or whether it starts somewhere else. I don't know, but that level of expectation has to, and you hear it, right? You hear it in camp. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Our goal is to get to the NFC, championship, NFC, win the NFC East, and then, get to the championship. I hear you, but what are your actions saying? What are your actions saying? Like, have fun, win your ball games, but then, like, hey, your mindset, you should feel the vibe. That when the Cowboys lose a game, what do we hear? Referees. Like, what's being said. You know what's being said behind the scenes. When you listen to some of these other teams, listen to the leadership. Listen to where their conversations are leading to. Aaron Rodgers wins a game. Is he hyped about that game? Or is he talking about, like, what's going to happen down the road?
Yep.
Like, it's just the future. It's what am I trying to attain? And I've gotten beaten up here. You beat me up. I'm like, dang it, Isaiah. Like, you're so hard on these guys. I'm like, yeah, because this isn't a goal. The regular season is not the goal. Yeah. That sets you up to be in position to go take care of business. That's why losing that Arizona game was so important. Right, because we wanted. Now you still wouldn't have got the first round bye because of
Green Bay.
Because of Green Bay, but positioning yourself the best you can for the playoff run, because that's all that matters in this league. Nobody cares. They could have went freaking like the doggone New England Patriots, went 16-0 or whatever it was. Right, they went undefeated season, lost the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They don't give a doggone about that regular season. I guarantee you that. Nobody wears an AFC or NFC championship ring. Nobody does. You throw that in the closet. You might even give it to your auntie. There's one thing that matters in this league, and it's walking away with the doggone trophy and a ring. That's the only thing that you walk away with, your stats, and you walk away with your jewelry. Those are the only two things you walk away with in your career.
No, absolutely, man. I've heard so many Hall of Fame, like Chris Carter just said it on television the other day. I trade my yellow jacket in for a Super Bowl ring any day.
Wow.
And guys say it, and they mean it.
Jerry said it.
Yeah.
Jerry said it.
So the level of success that comes with the Lombardi for players that sacrifice so much, you're right. I think that when you have an organization that's stayed in that 500 level throughout seasons, man, you celebrate when you get above that. But the organizations that you're talking about that, hey, man, all right, we won a game. Come on, let's move on to the next thing. They got a couple of Super Bowl rings to boot to go with all of that. Yeah. So it's a formula that works. Yeah. And that's what we got to come up with, man. Yeah. Which formula works? Man?
Yeah. You made a lot of great points, Isaiah. And as Heck was talking, I was like a bobblehead. I was just doing this. You could just tap the top of my head. Doing this. Because I believe in Dak. I've been on Dak for years because of his work ethic, because I think he truly wants to be great. The second half of the season was completely different from him after he came back from the strained calf. And I'm not saying the injury was a major factor there, but we talked about schematically, there were some things there. I don't know exactly what the answer is why. I don't know if anybody really knows exactly what has gone wrong with this offense, because I think one of the things with Dak that impressed me so much early in the season was just how advanced he's gotten in terms of complete command of this offense. Mm-hmm. Boom, boom, boom. Read. I got this.
Extension of a coaching staff.
Balls out. Yep. Total command. We didn't see that as much, and I think the running game is a huge factor there. I'm not putting it all away from Dak Prescott, because if you watch clips of guys breaking it down, Dan Orlovsky, whoever, like there's missed throws, there's misreads, there is that stuff. But again, it helps to have things around you a little more stable. And I've said this team was the best Cowboys team I've seen since 2007. I might amend that and say 16, even though Dak was a rookie, even though Zeke was a rookie and they were a young team, because they had that offensive line so dominant and something that they could just lean on and just moving people out of the way. And again, I'm not putting it all on the offensive line here, but that's not the strength it used to be.
No.
They spent all season trying to figure out the right five, the most effective group, and they never got that continuity. And I think the running game and not having that, and some of it's Keller Moore maybe not sticking to it enough. But that, to me, was a huge factor in why this offense, to your point, too, Kyle, was not as effective this down the stretch.
Yeah, that offensive line was probably the spot that I circled the most throughout the season. Because even the defense in the game, we talked about it yesterday, in the game on Sunday, 23 points allowed by your defense. Even after the slow start, even after the big play to Deebo Samuel following the turnover, it was enough. It should have been enough to get your offense and give them a chance to win the football game, and they didn't do that. All right, when we come back here on Talkin Cowboys, we wrap up our final regular season episode with a positive note when we return right after this.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Breaking the bank.
Go.
Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands, with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more. Essilor here on Talkin Cowboys. Isaiah Stanback with the mic flip, the final one of the regular season, and the eyebrow.
That wasn't a mic flip. That was like a mic slap. Like,
Get out of here, dude.
Get out of here.
What is this? Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, Chris Beam. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And guys, I want to bring some positivity. I said Isaiah a second ago.
What's that?
What's the positivity?
What's positivity?
I want to bring some sort of
what
positivity.
does that even mean right now?
I know. Nobody.
That's what I'm trying to figure out what you're about to do.
I want to hear your favorite part of this season. Oh, it could be on the field. It could be off the field. It could be a part of these shows. I want to hear your favorite part to wrap up this season, because we had a lot of fun in here. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of fun throughout the year on different shows, different things, different games. It all kind of just boiled down. What was your favorite part? We'll start with Isaiah.
The culture change that Dan Quinn brought.
Okay.
And the hope.
On that side of the football alone, or just in general?
The whole team. It affected the whole team. I think it gave this. I think without Dan Quinn, there wouldn't be no 12-5, and there wouldn't have been the hope going into the playoffs that this team and organization had. I think it was a complete culture shock in a good way, and obviously it showed up on the field. So, Dan Quinn, most definitely.
Damn. That's where I was going. but Dan Quinn, you know what, man? Not to be too mushy about all of this, man. I think just doing this podcast with you guys each and every day and the approach and professionalism that you guys have, I mean, it's always humbling. I bring my best shit every time I come in here with y'all. And it's just, Cowboy Nation and everybody that over the seasons, that have embraced me and taken me in. Man, this is... don't wake me up because this is crazy to be in this environment, to be around so many great people. I mean, not only just you guys, but Chris Beam, Roxanne Medina, Derek Eagleton, Nick Eatman. It's just a lot of. It's just you're surrounded by so many quality people that it's intimidating. It's intimidating, and so you try and find your place in it, and you got to be badass each and every day when you come into a studio that that David Hellman is going to walk into after you. So you got to be funky, baby.
Goodness, that Dave brings a high standard.
Exactly.
Co-sign that. Love you, Heck.
Yeah.
You guys,
no doubt.
Everybody brings it every day. It's a lot of fun. I hope they can keep Dan Quinn. I don't know. He's got about 18 job interviews for head coaching vacancies around the league.
He's got a busy
this week.
2 weeks.
He gone.
Yeah. He's got a lot of teams are interested in him, and for good reason. That's tough. I would say just watching Micah Parsons play football and listening to Micah Parsons every day. He was my favorite guy to talk to during the week. I think you listen to him after this game Sunday, and you hear him talk about accountability, and we got to clean up penalties, and it's not just his play on the field, but you listen to him talk and you're thinking this
leader,
this young guy is going to be a leader of this team, and he kind of already is. He's definitely a building block and a huge bright spot in what they've done this season. And without him, with all the guys they were missing early in the season, he really kind of saved this defense in a lot of ways early on.
He really did. And there's so many expectations around him, whether or not he lives up to the numbers that he put up in a rookie season. That's going to be tough because he did set such a high bar. But, yeah, I agree with you. Micah Parsons, Dan Quinn, this podcast, and how much fun it is to do this each and every day. Chris, do you have a favorite moment throughout the season?
My favorite moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a favorite moment.
What is it?
5 o'clock?
What?
When 5 o'clock rolls around?
Rob's wallet.
Yeah, 5 o'clock is always good every day.
Always a lot of fun.
I can go outside.
Is it dark outside when I leave? Usually it is. This is my favorite moment.
It is straight up win or lose. Pick the Cowboys, pick the Vikings, and we're going to let it happen and say it with your chest here on Talking Cowboys. B, we'll start with you. Who you got on Sunday?
Well, before I answer that real quick, I'm going to go ahead and say it with my chest, man. Isaiah, stand back.
Yes, sir.
That's you over there. Isaiah, stand back. You about to get burnt in the 40-yard dash from your boy B Church. I can't wait until we go out there. And we're going to go ahead and line it up. I can't wait till we line this thing up.
Don't do
yes, he's going to burn you. I'm going to burn you.
Don't do this.
Burn you. We all going to burn you out here.
Don't do
but
this.
back to the question.
Don't do
I'm going to go ahead and go with the Cowboys. They going to take this dub. It's over. Kirk Cousins ain't got nothing for us. All the muscles
I can
over
listen
there.
to this all day.
That's
Barry.
I'm burning you in the 40-yard.
Me from Ohio, it's Barry on the phone.
Barry on the
That's definitely Barry on the phone. Because nobody in there. Hey, listen here. Hey, listen here.
Oh, my God.
Nobody in their right mind.
That was so funny.
That was probably my favorite moment.
I love it,
That was
Chris.
awesome.
That was so fun. Chris and Barry
the
pranking.
funny thing is, it took Heckma probably a good 5 minutes to be like, hold on a second, that's Barry.
I think I took
It took
longer
me longer
than
than that,
did.
yeah.
Heckma realized it was like, that's Barry. And then it took me even more. I was like, wait a second, that's actually Barry.
I don't think I identified it until he said the players lounge. I was like, oh, you sneaky bastard.
Oh, this is actually
The funny thing is when he's like, don't do this, don't do this.
Don't do it.
He only said that 5 times, but I think at that point he didn't really know who it was.
No, you had no idea. You thought he was just
great,
challenging
dude.
you
Yeah, exactly.
and taking Barry's
Yeah.
side.
And as soon as he said players lounge, I was like, bing.
Oh man, that was so
That was
funny.
probably my favorite.
That was awesome.
That was my favorite moment.
That was
of the year, to be
hilarious.
honest
That
with you.
calm down Fido and all the other great
Now this
moments
race can
that we've
happen.
had.
Here we go.
Yep, it's off season time. We got to get the race going.
Danny McCray.
You're jumping on the wrong thing, so calm down, Fido.
Calm down, Fido.
That's a good one too.
Oh, so many fun moments. You guys hit so many great points. Mine is really the interaction we got to have with Cowboys Nation this year, as opposed to what we were having last year, because it was all virtual last year. We didn't really get to do a whole lot. We got to go to training camp this year. We got to do some outdoor stuff this year. We had fans on our pick'em segments every single week, and it was so much fun. So for real, Cowboys Nation, you were the best. I've been very sentimental and thankful over the last couple of days.
Don't cry.
I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not.
Okay.
I heard the fluctuation in your voice.
No, that's called losing my voice and still trying to get it back.
That's a great point. And also, you got to credit this football team for giving us a chance to have fun, because it wasn't fun to talk about this team last year, and obviously the COVID was a huge factor of it too. And that's why the way this season ended is so disappointing, because this team did have a good season.
It's angry because you had higher expectations. Last year, we were talking about the draft in like 3 weeks before November started.
3 weeks into the season.
So we are so thankful to be a part of this, be a part of Cowboys Nation, and of course we'll be here throughout the offseason, 11 a.m. Central Times on Tuesdays from here on out. It's Talkin' Tuesday.
What's popping tomorrow?
Nothing.
No.
Yes, Isaiah's on tomorrow for like a media.
We're going to do joint shows.
Joint show. There's a joint show tomorrow.
Cool. Well, Isaiah will be on there, so that's fun.
Yeah, Isaiah.
What's popping tomorrow?
Isaiah will be on tomorrow, and I think Kyle, you're on Thursday.
Oh, I am.
Oh,
you are.
There you go. Breaking news, Kyle.
Great, guys. All right. Well, I'll see you on Thursday for whatever show it is. But for the final time in the regular season for Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Tostitos, for Chris Beam, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. We'll see you next time. Thanks again, Cowboys Nation.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?